against 7 strangers, does that not make you a serial killer?
So I didn't kill them every day, did I? Did I go out there every day and say, I'm gonna kill? If I did, there would be
Well, no,
hundreds.
it took you 12 months.
Then he brings up Rex again, and that's when I just looked at him and I started stabbing him.
If I had shot my own children, would I not have done a good job of it?
First of all, women generally don't commit crimes this heinous.
Right.
This is usually the domain of men.
That's unfortunate.
Hi, Gabe.
Hey, Danny.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I just got back from Japan and saw a bunch of friends last night, had Thanksgiving, a lot of socializing.
Wow, and I was not invited once again.
Just so you all know, Danny was very much invited and by multiple people and refused to go because she hates us.
I was also very social out, but unlike you, I was like, I'm going to actually practice some self-care and say no.
That was self-care. It was actually, it was nice. We caught up with old friends and got some pizza, played some pool. It was a pretty good night.
Did you spend Thanksgiving with your family?
I had 2 Thanksgivings, which is part of the reason it was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I had 2 dinners.
Like your parents and your girlfriends, or?
No, I would say adopted family. I can't say their names obviously on air.
I'm so confused. Just tell me and edit it out, Gabe.
Yeah.
Was your friend back in town?
No.
So you just went with the parents?
Yeah. Well, and some of their friends, yeah. But I was invited by them. They consider me a surrogate child. Well, I shouldn't say they. The mom considers me a surrogate son.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. What a time. Was the food good?
It was phenomenal. Yeah. No, they're amazing cooks. I would, if you can ever get a dinner invite, I recommend you go. Although they don't do vegetarian. So never mind. Don't
Most
go.
places don't.
Yeah.
Weird. It's like they don't cater to my specific diet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was great. But how are you?
Good. I also had 2 Thanksgivings, but it was with my family and then Kobe's family. And then I went to Denver as well, Colorado, and that was fun. I'm ready to move there.
Just so you're all aware, she was there for like a day and a half.
Yeah. Like I flew in on a Friday and I landed at like 6 p.m. and then I left on Sunday at like 8 a.m.
Yeah.
It's great though, but my sleep schedule is so out of whack right now. I'm like going to bed at like 2 a.m. and waking up at like 7 or 8. It's bad.
Danny, you're telling me I was 15 hours ahead.
Yeah, in Japan.
Yeah. I left Japan at 5 p.m. and got in at 11 a.m. the same day.
What is time?
Yeah.
That's wild. But like, how long ago did you land?
I landed
Does that make sense? How long have you been back on this time schedule?
Yes, I arrived this past Sunday, a week ago from today.
A week? You should just be fully functioning again.
And you're telling us how you still can't sleep?
Well, no, my sleep schedule's messed up because I, like a long time, 4 days off work.
Nice.
So my, when I don't have that set schedule, it just kind of like reverts to not a healthy sleep schedule, I guess.
Or it's your natural sleep schedule and work gets in the way of that.
My natural sleep schedule is I go to bed around 10 and wake up at like 6:30. That's like my natural sleep schedule.
So then why would you go to bed at 2 a.m. now?
Because Kobe's natural sleep schedule is going to bed at like 8 a.m. and waking up at like 4 p.m.
Well, you can't compete with a night nurse.
No, you can't. But like we just have been staying up late, like watching movies, and because he's had some time off work too, and it's been nice.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
What movies?
Oh gosh. Well, we watched Thanksgiving. It's a horror movie on Netflix. It's it's good. It's like not like horror. It's more of like
comedy horror /
more of like thriller than horror.
Okay.
And then we watched Thanksgiving, which is, have you seen it?
No, but just the title.
Just Google Thanksgiving really quick so you can read the what it says on the movie poster. It's great.
On the movie poster?
Yep.
It just says Oh, Thanksgiving, gobble gobble, mother effer.
Yeah, it's a horrible movie. Like super low budget, but it's an experience. And then we watched this one movie that was a horror movie, and I actually screamed. Like, it was a good movie. And
Okay.
it like actually shocked me to the point where I screamed unexpectedly. And I can't remember the name. So there's that one.
It was too traumatic.
Yeah. Anyways, we love horror movies. And people are always like, why do you like horror movies and like true crime? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, maybe because I have this like anxiety, and watching them like is a reason to feel anxious.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it a way of taking control over your anxiety?
Exactly.
You're opting to be like, now you're the one choosing to be in the situation.
I don't know. Anyways.
Dark.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I highly recommend Alien Romulus.
Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah, oof, it was so good.
It was good. Yeah.
I saw it in theaters.
Oh, I saw it on streaming.
Yeah, it was. We only went because my girlfriend's friend won a radio contest, and we got free tickets.
They still do that?
I know, right?
Okay.
And so we went to go see it in theaters, and it was very, very worth. I was so impressed.
Mhm.
I expected it to be another middling Alien movie, but no, it was super good.
Yeah, it was very good. Yeah. And that's life. Here we are. And this is going to be released just before Christmas. So
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you all. Although I'm sure we'll do another episode.
I don't know. What is time? Probably.
Yeah, time is an illusion.
You should know that. You just like flashed back in time when you landed.
It's very trippy.
Yeah.
But all that aside, Japan was excellent. It was not oversold. All anyone ever tells me is how amazing Japan is, and that sort of thing always ruins it for me a little bit.
Like you expect more.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, the food was phenomenal. The people were very polite,
Mhm.
and
How was were the friends you were with? Did they speak Japanese?
two of them did, because they've both gone to Japan like 5 to 10 times each.
Okay.
So they're one of them they had a host family there, so they used to live there previously, very briefly.
Mm-hmm.
So they were very well versed in the culture and everything. But a lot of stuff there just made sense. So when if you go to a mall, not these days, of course, but when you would go to malls, if ever,
Yes.
there's all these escalators.
Yes.
There, people line up on the left or right, depending on where in Japan you are. But everyone who's not going to walk straight up lines up to one side, and they allow passage on the other side.
Oh yeah, that's pretty. They do that in like other countries all the time, and
Yeah.
even in where did I travel to recently? Oh, that was Scotland. That wasn't here. I was gonna be like, even in the United States,
Yeah.
but no, the United States is just it's a free for all.
Yeah. just little touches like that
Yeah,
were really nice to sort of see the consideration for
others.
other people.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you could recall back to our psych courses. We
Oof,
went to different
okay.
universities, but
Yes.
do you recall the stuff about
Is
independent
it grocery parking? You know, your carts.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay, go on.
Do you recall learning about independent cultures versus interdependent cultures?
Yes.
And how we're very individualistic. It's all about the one, and
Mm-hmm.
in countries, usually Southeast Asia, it's more about the collective.
Mm-hmm.
So you saw that play out in everyday life in different ways. And Japan's obviously got its own problems, and it's a very xenophobic country. Just for those of you who didn't know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They don't have a very high opinion of like foreigners. It'll depend.
Really?
It'll depend wildly, but just like
Yeah.
as a overall as a culture, like if you were to go to Japan, live in Japan, become a citizen, own property, you will be Japanese via citizenship, but they would never consider you Japanese.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's fair, but in the US, it's just not that.
Yeah.
Like the whole point is you can become American and be seen as American.
Right.
TBD, we'll see how this all plays out. But broadly speaking, you can be seen as an American regardless of your background or ethnicity or race. And in Japan, it's just not the case.
Mm-hmm.
And hell, read some of these stories of kids who are half Japanese who grew up in Japan, and you'll be shocked like at some of their experiences.
Overall, a really good place to visit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm focusing too much on the negative. Like,
I know.
the people
You're
are
like,
yeah.
it was great. And then you just went on to like a negative. I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
It's just what I kept
Noticing.
no one was rude to us.
Right.
But we are Gaijin. We are not from there.
Right.
And it didn't matter like how much we blended in, how polite we were. Like we were never going to be.
Do you tip?
No, in Japan you don't. It's not expected to tip.
Okay.
And in some places it can be seen as rude.
But that's what I remembered. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? They got it right. You know, I'm glad we brought this up. This is a long time coming. Tipping culture is crazy in the US. It is insane. You have to pay. Now some places expect 25%.
Oh, it's like the little automated thing shows up. It's like 20, 25%.
Yeah.
Like there's not 15% anymore.
No.
And it's just like, oh, everything's so expensive. And you expect me to, but I'm the worst, actually. I tip 25% on a regular basis.
No.
I'll get like a $2 coffee
Yeah.
and I'll tip like $5. It's so bad.
No, that should absolutely be, that should fall on the employer. to pay.
100%.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't even care if they just jack up their prices 20% and just say, all right, we're paying everyone a lot like more as a base wage, but tipping is gone.
Okay, but you know what's really bad with the way I tip is I just do it whatever's easiest math wise, and I don't do percentage at all. So if something's like $13, I'll be like, okay, $10, $23. But if I go to a dinner, it's like $50. I'll still be like $10. Like, I'm just like, whatever's easiest math, and it's horrible. I need to stop. I know.
Why not just do like $5?
Because I'm just like 10 is easy, or 20, depending on like the
The amount.
But yeah. I know. Kobe gets so annoyed. He's like, Danny, you tipped more than the check was. I'm like, yes. But anywho.
Can't do it. I get sick of it.
I know. Yeah. So anyways, are you ready to get sick of murder?
Never.
Like that segue?
Yeah. We've been at this 4 years and we're not sick of it yet.
I know, right? This one's good. This one is different than we've done this season in a way that her name, misnomer? What's that mean? Misnomer?
A misnomer?
Like her nickname. There we go. I fixed it. Her nickname is Death Row Granny.
Oh, we've had a surprising amount of like killing grannies.
Oh, I thought you were just going to assume she's old. Yes, she does kill grannies.
Oh, never mind. No, I thought she was old. I thought she was a granny who killed. So she kills grannies.
Yeah, there you go.
I think we had one of those, right? Wasn't she Mexican?
Oh, yes, we did. And she was also a wrestler.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we did. This one is a little bit different. You will see. She doesn't just kill grannies.
Okay.
She kind of just kills.
Well, then false advertising.
I know, right? I mean, yeah, because, she was technically a grandmother when she died, but she wasn't old. We'll get into it. We'll discuss it.
Go right in.
Yeah.
We're already at the 14-minute mark.
Well, sorry, guys. Her name is Velma.
Velma?
Velma.
Like the Scooby-Doo character.
Like the Scooby-Doo character. And she was born in North Carolina on October 29th, 1932. And she was the oldest girl of 9 children. Do you remember what happened in the 30s?
Yeah, the Great Depression.
The Great Depression!
Who can forget?
Yes.
We were there.
What?
We weren't there.
No, we were not there. But yeah, it was not a good time to grow up, and she was the oldest girl of 9 children, so I assume a lot of responsibility fell on her. The house they lived in had no heating, no running water. It was very considered a impoverished family, as a lot of people during that time were, and it didn't help that her father was just like soups abusive and beat them, and his wife Lily, and his name was Murphy, but his wife was quiet, and she tried to stay like out of the way, as your typical household mom would, and she did try to protect the children, but like Velma kind of later showed resentment towards her mom for not sticking up to the father, which, there's a lot of layers there. I'm not going to go into those layers because that's just opening up the onion. And so Velma actually ended up finding church at like 15 or 16, and it was this reprieve from her home life. And she then met a guy her age named Thomas Burke, and they started a relationship. And her father tried to stop this relationship, and he had like strict rules, like she couldn't go out with him alone. She always had to be in a group and that kind of thing. And then Velma starts to see Thomas as a way out, like, hey, let's get married kind of thing. So they elope in December of 1949, and Velma's around like 17 at that time, right? 49 minus 32.
Yeah, 17.
There you go.
Quite young.
Yeah. Well, was it young for that time?
You're right. Probably not.
Yeah. And they go on to have 2 children in, a normal way. They, a nuclear family,
In a
if you
normal
will.
way?
Yeah, like, I know she was young, but like, there was no huge red flags. They're the same age. I
see what you mean.
Yeah. Velma begins to have health issues, and she's found to have tumors on her uterus. And in 1962, she has a hysterectomy, which left her in a lot of pain. And it was described as her not ever being the same after this procedure. She also began to have back issues, and that exacerbated the pain. And so she began to take pain medication as a way to manage it. And this turned into an addiction.
I mean, we all know that's very common these days.
Yeah.
Back then, less regulations, even.
Yeah.
So.
Like, a lot of the ways she fed her addiction was just going to the pharmacy and paying for more drugs. I think back then, a lot less was known about the whole addiction to pain meds things. And they were just kind of the people who own the companies of the pain meds really just tried to like throw the medication at people. So yes, a lot less regulation. And around this time, her and Thomas started having some major issues where they argued a lot. And then unfortunately in 1965, Thomas was in a serious car accident. And after that, he starts to drink and becomes a full-blown alcoholic.
Man, this has gone straight down the toilet.
Right? Like so quickly. Well, not quickly, I guess. They got married in 42 and now it's 65.
Oh, well, they made it almost 20 years.
Yeah.
How are the kids?
Good. The kids are good. There's a son named Ronnie, and I had to think a second because ChatGPT tried to tell me the wrong name, and I was like, you are freaking wrong, ChatGPT. Anyways, Ronnie, and then there's a girl who's younger, and her name is Kim, and Ronnie ends up, trying to be the mediator between the two and stuff because he's in his late teens when this addiction and stuff starts happening, and it's not a situation that's good for him to be in, but he overall is really good. He ends up trying to go to college, but then the Vietnam War happened. So yeah. And not much is known about Kim, but she ends up getting married and having kids. So normal kids.
Okay.
Yes. To answer your question in a roundabout way. And in 65 is when he's in the car accident and he begins to drink more and more and becomes a full-blown alcoholic. And because of this, he goes through a lot of jobs. Throughout this time, Velma's managed to keep her same job at a department store. And in April of 1969, Thomas falls asleep on the sofa with a lit cigarette in his mouth, and he ends up losing his life in the fire.
Damn.
Yeah.
That escalated very quickly.
Yeah.
He was only 37?
Yeah. Around there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of speculation later on of whether or not Velma had anything to do with it. And I'll ask you later what you think. But as far as I can tell, she nowhere says she was home when this happened.
Okay.
August of 1970, she marries a man named Jennings Barfield. Yeah, hold on. I'll flash back. Don't worry.
Okay. No, but it's like a year later.
Less than a year later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. He was a recent widower that she had met, and how they met in different sources says different things. One of them is that they like lived near each other and they met. Another one says that he was actually, this one's crazy. It says that he was Velma's best friend's husband, and then the best friend died, and then they like got together over their grief.
Like, I know things like that happen, but it does start to look suspicious when Velma's husband and Velma's best friend die.
Oh no, her best friend died of a
Aneurysm.
yeah, there you go. It's like something in your brain goes wrong. Yeah.
Brain freeze.
Yeah.
Too many ices.
Oh, so I think right now it's just bad luck,
Okay.
but that quickly changes.
Yeah.
So she meets this guy, Jennings, and they get together and get married within a year of her first husband dying. And his wife had also recently died, who was possibly Velma's best friend, unknown. I'm leaning towards no, because only like one source said it and the rest did not mention it at all. So
That's fair.
but it was so juicy that I was like, that is some tea.
Yeah.
If that is true, I gotta tell them. So Jennings had taken an early retirement because he had a plethora of health issues, from diabetes to heart disease. So not a healthy man. And they got married in a church that Velma like didn't have with her first wedding because it was an elopement. And so that was nice. And they quickly began to have issues. Jennings thought that Velma took too many pills, and that was quite apparent when one day he found her in a unconscious state, and he took her to the hospital to find out she had overdosed, and they actually ended up breaking up over this for like a little bit. And then they got back together very quickly.
Oh boy. Did she change?
She promised she would change. And then she unfortunately didn't, and she ended up back in the hospital with another overdose. And divorce seemed very likely, like to the point where Jennings had actually reached out to a lawyer to discuss divorce. But in the spring of 1971, Jennings succumbed to an untimely death.
Okay, that's suspicious.
Apparently, he developed a sudden illness and died. The cause of death was heart attack.
I mean, he did suffer from diabetes and a heart condition, heart disease. So
It's not crazy.
not crazy, yeah.
Yes.
But to lose two husbands so soon, I mean, they've been married, what, like maybe a year?
Yes. Like maybe a year, yeah.
Yeah.
August to springtime.
Yeah, so she lost her first husband like 2 years ago, and now, not even 2 years ago, like a little over a year ago, and now she loses her new husband now. And
Part of me wonders if maybe her first husband did die of natural causes, and then, not natural, but like he naturally fell asleep while drunk and like
hey, while smoking,
died.
while smoking,
Yeah.
excuse you.
Yeah. But like because of that,
It gave her an idea.
yeah,
Yeah,
she realized, oh, look, he's out of my life now.
yeah.
But Velma doesn't cope well. She ends up losing her job, her home, and her father had just passed away as well from lung cancer. So it's like a bad time for her. So she moves back in with her mom, Lily. And at this point, I believe her son is off on his own now, and her daughter is still with her.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, they were well out of the Great Depression. And certainly Vietnam is now the big issue. But I'm sure the son is like, screw all this, having grown up with two parents who were addicts.
Yeah. It's tough. It's very tough.
Yeah.
So Lily, the Velma's mom, unfortunately becomes very ill with diarrhea and stomach cramps. So she goes to the hospital where she gets better and she goes back home. And Velma begins to take out loans in Lily's name to pay for her pill addiction. And a letter shows up at the house about overdue loans. Lily is very confused because she doesn't have any loans. And so Lily's like, I think maybe, the bank is making an error, as banks do. But soon Lily gets sick once again and goes back to the hospital where she dies within 2 hours.
Of the same issues,
Yes.
like stomach related.
Yeah. And in 1975, so this is like half a year to a year later, Velma actually goes to jail for 3 months for writing a string of bad checks. She was supposed to go to prison for 6 months, but she's let out early due to good behavior. And in late 1975, after getting out of prison, Velma begins to search for a job, and she finds a job caring for the elderly. And
Nice.
I do not know why some professions, I don't know, maybe it's just like people focus on the bad things, but like some professions just seem to have bad people gravitate towards them.
It's the access to vulnerable people. A long time ago, I looked into this, and that's people. Yeah, if you want to exploit people, you go into professions where you have access, like easy access to people who are very vulnerable,
Yeah.
like old folks' homes.
It also just pays horribly, which like I loved being a caregiver. It was my favorite job I've ever had, but like I couldn't do it long term because the pay is just terrible.
Yeah, which is kind of insane,
It
right?
sucks because then like good people don't stay in this profession because they can't afford to. So then the bad people who are taking advantage. Yeah. Anyways, so she gets a job caring for a couple, Montgomery and Dolly Edwards, where she cares for them and she works for them. Montgomery is 94 years old. He's a bedridden man who's pretty much he had diabetes, and due to diabetes, he ended up losing his legs and his vision. So he was completely bedridden. And his wife, Dolly, was 84, and she was in better shape, but, she was still older, and she was a cancer survivor. So Velma moves in to help them out. She finds a new local church to join, and
Nice.
it all seems like, okay. Except Dolly's a very critical client, and she has high expectations, and she voices them to Velma, which Velma does not appreciate. And so like she calls Velma lazy and says that Velma needs to do more for Montgomery and that kind of thing.
Have you ever dealt with a client like that?
No, because I'm great. I mean, not while caregiving, no.
Yeah.
And Montgomery dies in January of 1977. So she had this job for a little over a year. And then Montgomery dies, and Velma's relationship with Dolly just kind of starts to deteriorate even more since Montgomery's not there, and she doesn't have that excuse of caring for Montgomery to take up time. So Dolly's like watching her even more and like, you're not even doing anything. Why am I paying you? But soon, Dolly becomes sick with what she and the doctor think is the flu. But then it gets worse and worse, and she ends up going to the hospital, and she's admitted, but then she's released. She goes home and ends up back in the hospital where she passes away. It was, the same stomach issues. She had diarrhea, vomiting, that kind of thing.
Oof.
But, the flu kills a lot of older people. So Velma goes and finds both of her people died. So she goes and finds a new job caring for another couple, an 80-year-old farmer named John Henry Lee and his 76-year-old wife named Record.
Cool name.
Isn't it? Yeah. And then Record had recently broken her leg, so she needed extra assistance. So something odd happens within weeks of Velma being hired. Record has a check cashed that is signed by her, but she didn't sign it. So they call the police, but have no idea who could have done it, because obviously, this wonderful Christian caregiver they hired isn't even a suspect.
Rightfully so.
Of course. Now, Velma didn't love working for this couple because they bickered a lot and she had to take care of them. And I think the quarreling that she witnessed kind of brought her back to...
Oh, her life, her domestic life, yeah.
Yeah, like, because her childhood, her parents had a tumultuous relationship, and then her first relationship went pretty poorly, and then her second one ended up going poorly as well.
Yeah.
So I think them bickering really affected her. And John Lee begins to feel sick and soon passes away in the autumn of 1977. So within months of her getting this job. At this point, I think her death counts at, let's see, her second husband.
Her mom.
Has she killed her mom now? Yes, her mom. The first woman that she was caregiving for, and then the second man she was caregiving for. So 4 people at this point she has murdered.
Yeah. Allegedly.
In October of 1977, she begins dating a man named Stuart Taylor. His first wife had died, and he had been married multiple times after that, and that didn't work out. And he wanted to be with someone long term.
I mean, she's got to be like 40 something now.
Yes.
Yeah, 44.
32 to 77.
45.
Somewhere along there.
Yeah, it's 40.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my calculator. So Velma moves in with him, and just like at this point, she is a serial killer, right?
Yeah.
She's killed more than 3 people. It's not a spree. She's a full-on serial killer.
Well, we don't know.
Allegedly.
Exactly. I mean, these people were old, so.
Yeah, maybe they just, all died of the same exact symptoms.
Yeah. Which, like, on the one hand, it makes it excellent cover that they're old. But on the other hand, when it's not, like, I guess we know she's cashing checks on their behalf. Is she doing this for everyone?
Yes. The money seems to be the object, but, like, not even a lot of money. Like, $50 here and there. And she also steals, not a lot of money. She also steals the medications from the old people as well.
Okay. I guess with the medications, it is a little more lucrative on her part, but she's not exactly making a lot doing this.
She is not at all.
Well, we'll go into her motivations or potential motivations after.
She's considered just a cold-blooded killer.
That's what I was going to say, when there's so little profit to be made, she's clearly enjoying it.
Yeah.
Or it's fulfilling something.
It's fulfilling something for sure. Or it's like a convenience factor for her. It's wild.
Maybe it comes down to petty revenge. Like they make one criticism and she's like, well, screw this.
Yeah. So, okay, at this point, she is now with Stuart. Mm-hmm. And Stuart realizes that she's writing checks and signing his name. So he tells her, like, this needs to stop or I will go to the police. And after that, he begins to feel sick.
What?
I know. Shocking.
Is this COVID?
In the late 70s.
OG COVID-18, obviously.
So Stuart's in his late 50s, and overall he's healthy. So not her usual MO. Mm-hmm. MO, mission operative? What does MO stand?
Modus operandi.
There you go. And one day, sorry, I wasn't expecting you to know.
You were expecting what?
I wasn't expecting you to know. I wasn't expecting that to be the answer. It's just your casual Latin.
What were you expecting?
I don't know.
Then why'd you ask me?
It's like mission operative. Like that makes sense. Oh my god. So yeah, one day she insists they go to church, and I don't know why she insists, because he's not feeling well, but he goes to church and he gets worse and worse throughout the service. So they go home. They get home, and one of Stuart's friends stops by to check on him, and he's like, dude, Stuart ain't doing well. So he calls an ambulance, but Stuart dies soon after arriving at the hospital. There was no signs of foul play, but alarm bells kind of ring since he was on the younger side and didn't have health issues. So the hospital asks his family, like, do you want us to do an autopsy? And his family's like, yeah, why not? For sure. And Velma's like, yeah, let's do one, definitely.
Why? Why is she?
I think at this point, she's just panicking and trying to fit in.
Oh.
And she knows suspicion would like be on her if she's like, nah. And they're not married, so she doesn't actually have any say.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. While they were waiting for the autopsy results, they had the funeral, and Velma, like, actually, she goes and she stays with the family the whole time and, like, plays the grieving girlfriend and, you know, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then on March 6th, 1978, the autopsy reveals that his cause of death...
Let me guess. Is it arsenic?
It's arsenic, yeah. Which is not a lovely way to die.
No, I mean, dying from like gastrointestinal issues sounds awful.
Yeah,
it really does.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd rather like not. I mean, cyanide is much quicker. Anything that affects.
But cyanide's still horrible.
Sure, but it's at least faster.
It is faster, yeah.
And anything related to lungs, like from what I've heard, not dying from like respiratory issues is not the most painful way to go. Mm-hmm. So I think I'd prefer that even.
What would you want to be poisoned by? What a fun game.
It's a question it's a game we should all play, really.
That's like when where I just fall asleep and that's it. I don't feel anything. Does that exist?
Yeah. Anything like morphine.
There you go.
A ton of morphine.
Why wouldn't she use? Probably because she wanted morphine for herself.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, no, she's addicted to pain medication. She would absolutely want that for herself.
That makes sense. Ooh.
Yeah, no, morphine is like probably about as nice of a way to go as possible.
Yeah. Ah, man. Anyways, so yeah, on March 10th, Velma's brought in for questioning and is arrested that day for the murder of Stuart Taylor. And her entire testimony is that... So, okay, let's first go to after her arrest, they, look into her history and they actually exhume the body of Jennings Barfield and found traces of arsenic. And then she confesses to the murders of her mother, Dolly, and John Henry Lee, that guy.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
She confesses to all of this.
She does, but her entire defense is like, yeah, I poisoned these people, but I didn't mean to kill them. I thought it would give them, sick. And it's like, okay, sure, maybe the first one, but like after they died and you did it again and again.
That's also just a terrible defense. Like, no, I shot her, but I didn't mean to kill her. I just tried to shoot her in the leg and she bled out. Like,
yeah.
Cool motive, still murder. Like,
yeah, and I mean, at this point, she is up for the death penalty, and I think she's just trying to maybe lower that.
Well, then why'd she confess to 4 additional murders?
I know, without a plea. Like,
yeah, like,
I don't know. The prosecutor of the case, the lawyer who's trying to, put her in jail, was actually in the the Guinness World Record book for sentencing the most amount of people to the death sentence.
Okay.
Yeah, so gnarly lawyer she was up against, and it didn't go well for her. She was found guilty and sentenced to the death sentence.
Man, there shouldn't be a record like that because...
There should absolutely not be a record like that. Yeah.
Then as a prosecutor, you're just motivated to keep it going.
Well, I mean, that's his job.
Well, no, his job is to put away criminals. His job isn't to put them to death, Yeah. It's to be proportional, I would hope. No, then again, maybe that's the judge's.
It is the judge, ultimately. The judge is the one who recommended the death sentence.
Yeah.
And, I mean, she did kill 5 people. Okay, there's something weird, though.
What?
She killed 5 people. She killed... We already went over them all.
Yeah.
But on the Wikipedia page, it says she killed 6.
Who was the 6th?
It doesn't say because it only names the 5 people. And I'm so confused. Is Wikipedia wrong?
It can be. It's written. Wikipedia is edited by people.
It's true, but that's why I ended up going to ChatGPT because I was like, maybe that can like look at the whole internet and tell me if there's this 6th person.
Yeah. And
then I learned ChatGPT is just like absolutely inaccurate, like wildly inaccurate. And it kept trying to say that the 6th person was first. It said that it was her first husband, and then her first husband who died in the fire.
Oh, I see.
So then I asked it. I was like, did Velma kill Thomas Burke, the first husband. And it responded as like, no, there is no evidence. And I was like, well, then why is Thomas Burke on your list of 6 people? And it was like, oh, that was an error. I'm sorry. And I was like, well, then who's the 6th person? And it was like, the 6th person was a neighbor named Anna. And I was like, where did you find that information? Because it's not in any article I can find whatsoever. And he was like, you are right. That is inaccurate. I was like, but then who is the 6th person?
Oh, welcome to ChatGPT.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's possible, I guess, Wikipedia is wrong.
Yeah, someone who edited that article likely was like, she must have killed her first husband.
Maybe that was it, yeah. Because it literally only lists those 5 people.
Or they just miscounted. Like, genuinely they miscounted.
Yeah. But I mean, if it is 6 and I'm missing somebody, please tell me. But I looked everywhere and I could not find a 6th person.
Yeah.
So
if you know the 6th person.
Is it Anna, the mysterious, mysterious neighbor that doesn't exist anywhere?
Because she's dead.
I even was like, I even tried Googling Velma Barfield and Anna and nothing. But I was like, where did you get this freaking name?
No, there's like a word for it too, but it makes up like ghost information.
It really does.
Yeah.
And then it tried to say that that she killed her son and it had the son's name wrong. And I was like, it did not kill her son. Her son had nothing but good things to say about Velma and being raised by her. And yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I thought... But he grew up in a household where his father was an alcoholic and his mom was addicted to pain meds.
But overall, she was a good mom and she did care for her kids. And he was able to look past that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and he's, from what I could tell, he's still alive. So I don't know what ChatGPT was saying. But anyways, moving on. She was actually the only female on death row in North Carolina at the time. And... feminism. Yeah. She went through withdrawals while she was there for quite gnarly withdrawals.
Yeah.
And while in prison, she says that she's a born again Christian, and she realizes that beforehand she was kind of like a fake Christian, but now she's real. And
sure.
She tried to, help people in prison and listen to them and that kind of thing. There's multiple appeals about her being on the death row, and they all got denied. And on November 2nd, 1984, she was executed.
Wow, they went through with it.
Yep. And she was actually buried near her first husband, Thomas. Not together, but in the same cemetery.
Oh, I see.
Because, probably because that's where she was from.
Yeah.
And that is Velma Barfield.
Thank you. I got some questions.
Okay, I'm ready.
Let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
So her first husband dies of semi-natural cigarette-related causes.
Yes.
She remarries within a year.
Jennings.
Yes. How okay would you be with your spouse remarrying within a year of your death?
Does he murder this person?
Let's say no.
Oh no, I'm dead. What does it matter?
That's all. Yeah, that was what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like when I first heard it, I was like, "That's so fast." But then the more I thought about it, I was like, "Wait, but I'd be dead. Like, what do I care?"
Yeah, I mean, if Kobe died, I don't think I would marry that quickly, just because that's not who I am. Mm-hmm. But if I died, I'm dead. Kobe can do whatever he wants.
Yeah,
that is dark. That is very dark, Gabe.
That's not dark.
It is pretty dark.
I think that's a fair question that spouses should know. Because look, as tragic as it is, people die young all the time, and I would rather if my partner told me they would want me to wait 2 years minimum before dating again, I would feel as a person who gets to live, I would feel I can do that. That's fine. That's fine.
That's fair. What if they're I never want you to marry again?
I'd be define never. Wait, never marry again?
Yeah.
I'd be bet.
Really?
Marry, whatever. Just have a long-term partner.
Okay.
Mostly because why get married again?
Yeah, weddings are expensive.
Yeah. But no, I think a never is actually too that's just unrealistic. Even you would want your partner to move on eventually.
Yeah.
You want them to do it with a lot of guilt, but you want them to eventually move on.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right. What's your next question? Moving on from that topic.
Yeah. Arsenic, readily available at the time.
Oh, so funny. In the trial, the guy questioning her, prosecutor, was like, and you used rat poison, right? And she's like, well, actually, I think it was like rodent and cockroach or something. Like, she corrects him. Like, how is this helping you, girl? Anyways, yes,
Hey,
arsenic.
it's good to be accurate, okay? She wants it on the record.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just going to add, because it's so readily available at the time, she used what she could get.
Mm-hmm.
And 3, I forgot the third question already. I should have written that one down. It was
Yeah.
something to do with the very end of the story.
Oh.
It was more a commentary on religious programs in prison.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like we owe it to the audience to talk positively about religion right now, especially after the comments in the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
But seriously, we will convert for 5 stars.
Gabe, no.
I read up a little bit on some of these religious programs in prison, and they do help a lot with recidivism, in part because they give people a sense of purpose, a community. And there's this it's fascinating to me as a non-religious person, because I think it's all coming from within. But for whatever reason, people gain this extra resilience when they become religious by believing there's this higher power.
Because it like gives you a reason.
But even above the reason, they just believe something is helping them more actively.
Mm-hmm.
And that will often give them like a higher amount of perseverance.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is fascinating, because to me, I'm of the opinion that it's yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you've just externalized a little bit of yourself to like give you more power.
Right.
But it's like all ultimately you.
Yeah.
But that's always fascinated me, how.
Yeah.
But very good results from these programs. Velma claims to have been reborn. I would love to know if there was anything genuine in that conversion. I have a very hard time believing, just by how she was killing people.
So without like thought, she just did it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time believing that suddenly in prison. But then again, she was an addict. Addicts are
true. And in prison, she got clean.
Yes. Addicts can become very desperate.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've read cases of people like stealing from their parents or friends.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
Burning every bridge.
Yeah. Addiction is pretty gnarly.
Yeah. So I would have, if she had like a memoir or something, or any kind of writing detailing her time in prison, I would like to have known if she changed.
Mm-hmm.
And would that have been enough?
It wasn't enough to the judges who denied all her appeals.
No.
A big reason for her appeals was that she's changed.
Certainly, you can never let her out. I mean,
I don't even think she was asking that. I think she was mainly just trying to get off death row.
how old was she when she was death rowed?
1984, and she was born in 32, so
Wow.
52.
Yeah. So she was only 52.
Mm-hmm. I was surprised that she actually got executed, because I feel like so many people stay on death row and nothing ever really actually comes of it.
Oh yeah, like their whole lives. They just finish out their lives in prison while on death row.
Mm-hmm. According to the possibly inaccurate Wikipedia page, her last meal was like cheese doodles and Coke.
I think we once discussed what our last meals would be.
Yeah, you were like, nothing. Like, I don't want anything.
Because I feels like it tries to humanize this kind of barbaric thing where you're being put to death by the state.
You know what my last meal would be? That ramen I'm obsessed with that I did not bring you again. I had it last night for dinner. Oh, yeah. It was amazing.
That would be your last meal?
Yeah. I really limit myself to only have it once a week, because like ramen's not great for you. Like, I'm sure this is ultra processed, high sodium.
But it's good for the soul.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Actually, I know what my last meal would be now. A lot of the seafood in Japan was phenomenal. And while it wouldn't be Japanese seafood, I think I'd want sushi as my last meal.
Sushi's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost too healthy though. Come on, Gabe.
I wonder if you can be like, for my last meal, I would like a fully loaded gun.
Oh my gosh. I want to do the deed myself.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah.
I was thinking just break out of prison, but you know.
Oh. Like our minds went to two completely different places. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, anyways, yeah.
For my last meal, I would like a pardon.
Yeah, sure. Granted. Man. I wonder, I'm sure there's so many like protocols about what you can ask for.
I don't doubt that for a moment.
Yeah. One person that wanted like a McDonald's Shamrock Shake. And ever since then, I was like, I should try it. If it's your last meal, it has to be good, right?
No, oftentimes it can just be nostalgia.
That's fair.
Like it's something they had a lot as a kid and they just want that kind of comfort at the end.
Yeah.
That's why my original answer was nothing though. Like it
doesn't matter.
No, like this doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
You're being put to death. I
would, having that last bowl of ramen, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
I don't know. Like I don't want to ask like morphine. Like give me something good.
I mean, when they execute you, it's like similar to morphine, right? Like you just fall asleep.
Supposedly, I believe it's 3 like vials, and it is supposed to like cause. What do you see?
The FedEx guy is just like shutting the back of his truck and opening it. Is he getting more packages? Sorry, go on.
Actually, let's find out. Oh man. So
I know it changed. I just don't know when it changed because it used to be a way more considered inhumane way to do it.
Yeah. Well, here you got it. So we got to hear this. So here are nitrogen hypoxia was authorized in 1 state in 2016.
Ooh, that'd be a good way to die.
Yeah. Firing squad was authorized in 2 states in 2016.
That's so horrible. Like, because then it's not even. I mean, I guess there's always somebody that's going to be like, because then it's like people are pulling a gun and that's going to affect those people too. Cause they're going to murder you. But at the same time, I guess, even if it's nitrous oxide, like somebody's turning that on.
Yeah.
Oh, what if you could just do it to yourself? Just twist it.
Yeah. No, there you go. That'd be nice.
Nobody else is affected.
Yeah. Hanging was authorized in 3 states in 2016.
What? That is such a horrible way because it doesn't even work sometimes.
Well, hanging will always work eventually.
Well, eventually. Yeah. Oh my God, 2016.
Yeah.
Does it say what states?
Let's find out. This is from the Bureau of Justice org. Capital Punishment Doc. New Hampshire authorized hanging only if lethal injection could not be given. Delaware authorized hanging. Then
Delaware, what are you doing?
So yeah, it was Delaware, New Hampshire, and Washington.
Washington? What?
Yeah.
That's actually quite shocking. I was imagining like Florida and Georgia.
So lethal gas authorized in 3 states in 2016. Electrocution authorized in 8 states in 2016.
Interesting.
Electrocution is the one I've heard is not.
No, that one's not good.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
And then lethal injection, which is the most common method of execution nowadays. And it typically involves, like I said earlier, up to 3 drugs. And the drugs are usually an anesthetic or sedative, a paralyzing drug, and then a drug to stop the heart. But I've heard it's also kind of miss.
Yeah, I've heard that too. It's not like an exact science. Like I don't know if this is accurate, but I've heard that like they don't even truly understand what's it called when you get put under for surgery? Anesthesia. Like it's kind of like not fully understood, and that's absolutely terrifying. Well,
I know now there was some research showing that there seemed to be permanent long-term effects from going under even once. Nothing severe, but there are brain changes that happen as a result.
What? Don't tell me that. I went under for my wisdom teeth.
We've all had to go under at some point. I don't know anyone who has never at one point been put under for something.
Yeah.
Well, no one who's like an adult.
Right.
Right? So
I feel like wisdom teeth is a big one.
Yeah. And you got to weigh the pros and cons because whatever minor or long-term damage happens from being put under outweighs, I would think, not being put under for some pretty extreme surgeries.
Yeah. That is information I wish I didn't know. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm chock full of it.
Just like I wish I didn't know that you could be hung now. Hanged? Is hanged the right word or is it hung?
Hanged sounds right.
Hanged does sound right, but hung is a word where
It's
you.
a past tense.
Oh, I don't know. Anyways, we don't know English very well, so.
It's all made up. It's all made up words anyway.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Thank you, Danny, for the story.
You're welcome.
We had a good old-fashioned poisoning of elderly.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we did one of those.
It has been a while, just in time for Christmas.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for the episode.
Thank
Any
you.
parting words for the people?
Thank you for listening. Please follow us on Instagram. We have a Patreon that we need to release an episode on soon. And
Yes. Do we have one ready?
we do have one ready. We
Hell
have a
yeah.
Her Story by Gabe that will probably be out before this is out. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe.
Yeah. We're just,
Oh, it's December now.
it is December.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. Time is, I don't even know.
Yeah.
It's just flying by.
Yeah.
Just-
Well, on that note, thank you all.
Yes. Thank you.